Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hogcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you, running on from yesterday's theme, with the GameStop shares situation that's happening with Robinhood and Wall Street, etc. This is a heated exchange between the Fox News business host and a news contributor. They were on Fox News yesterday talking about it, and they got into such a heated argument with each other, one not letting the other talk, the other insulting the other one, that one eventually got so angry he first threatened to walk off the set, and then eventually in the end he said, "Turn me off, I'm done," and essentially walked off. Quite amusing and quite serious at the same time. So we're going to get into this clip. I've only got one clip to watch today because I know some of my newer viewers, because I did have a lot of new views yesterday, said that I talk too much. I'm sorry about that. It's just sometimes I have to make my point, otherwise I'll forget. Sometimes I just forget. So we're going to get into this clip, but if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and share this video around. I'd love you to be a new member of this community we're growing here on this small YouTube channel that I hope to become a big, brilliant success. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so it's Charlie Payne and Charles Gasparino, sure I'm pronouncing it right, who get into the spat on Fox News Business yesterday. The Fox News channel, but it's the business host. Okay, so let's hear what they've got to say, and then I'll stop it intermittently just to give my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I worry about it. Listen, here's the bottom line with short selling, and here's why I'm worried about them cracking down on short selling. Short selling actually exposes so many frauds because stock markets are much more filled with touters and people who pump up these stocks like GameStop, by the way. I mean, when was the last time you were in a mall, or BlackBerry? I mean, those stocks are being touted. And investors are getting in those stocks thinking that they are great based on flimsy research. And guess what? The short sellers come in and give you another side of the story. So if you think getting rid of short selling is a good thing, think again, because it's going to lead to many more ripoffs. The problem with Washington, I think, on this story is this. I don't think there's much they can do. You can investigate the market manipulation. Guess what? They're going to find out it's almost impossible to peel back, because a lot of this message board stuff is all anonymous. What's the difference between a tout and a real belief in something? You have to delineate that. The real thing came down, I think, is what's going on here is that when you have the Federal Reserve just having 0% interest rates forever, you're going to get GameStop, that's at $3 a share, shoot up to $40 a share, which is when the shorts came in and said this thing ain't worth it. It's full of irrational exuberance, and that's happening with a lot of stocks. So I think the big thing is you want to add some reality to the markets. Add some interest rates and make sure you have to pay for money here.
All right. Well,
before the Charles Payne responds, I just want to pipe in for a quick second. Now, I remember seeing a tweet from a man who is an ex-vet who he put a lot of money into GameStop, and he said specifically that he was willing to lose. He had made money, he had other investments elsewhere, but he said he put a lot of money. I saw this on Tim Pool's channel because he was covering it. This man had put a lot of money into GameStop, and he said he was willing to sit on it, he was willing to lose. He said he wanted to do this primarily to stick it to Wall Street, to stick it to the big bankers, and he's not alone. So I personally disagree with what the man has just said, Mr. Gasparino has just said, because people, especially a lot of working class and some middle class people who have been trodden on for a long time, they're not as fickle and as one-dimensional as Mr. Gasparino clearly thinks they are. That's all I'm saying.
Whole other phenomenon here. There's plenty of justification to keep rates where they are. But having said that, Charles Payne, I know you've been saying, we don't, waste a nanosecond looking the other way when big shorts at some of these big hedge funds are losing a lot of money here and we don't hold them accountable, but God forbid the little guy makes a lot of money, then we're zeroing in on him. Is it really?
Yes, thank you.
That way, though, or is there just a sense right now that this is like a market toppy event, that we're assigning values to companies that are way beyond the norm? I mean, Tesla's one thing, but something that we see happening to these small guys who've been targeted, I guess, because they're small, because of the focus of shorts, they get a disproportionate amount of attention. What do you think?
Well, it's easy now to say, oh, well, Tesla is not the same. For the last 5, 6, 7 years, people were saying the same exact argument. I'm not here to argue value. Listen, I'm in the market to make money. 2 weeks ago, I put out a list of shorts that people should buy, and we took profits on them. Actually, most of them last week. The only one I took profits on this week, I think, was Space. And they were all grand slams. So you got to know your own greed level. Also, the assumption that everyone who bought these at $50 is all going to hold it till it goes all the way back down to 1 is a farce. I mean, these are not dumb people. Some of them, listen, human nature, some people are going to get greedy, but a lot of people have already made a lot of money. I think the main story here, though, is that Wall Street, hedge funds, it's good. You think a stock is $100 and it should be $80? Go short. But they don't just go short. They put together 50-page reports. They get to go on TV. They have their own networks, their own very powerful networks. They don't need to go in a chat room and gather 1 million people with $400. Yeah, but they can make 2 or 3 phone calls. So the idea that the hedge funds are being...
This is when the triggering starts. So Gasparino has been listening to this, and obviously the bottle in his rear end is starting to crack. And he's about to explode something, I don't know what it was, but something that Mr. Payne has said has angered him beyond belief.
Being dissed or somehow disadvantaged there is a farce.
Look at the short thesis on BlackBerry, okay? The analysis on BlackBerry and the long thesis on BlackBerry.
Right.
And then
let me tell you one thing, Charlie. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
I get trading out of it. Look at the short thesis on GameStop.
Charlie. Let me just tell you one thing, though. Let me just tell you one thing. I bought BlackBerry in my own account. Almost a year ago.
Makes no sense. This market is.
Let Charles Payne answer. Go ahead.
Stock stuff.
Who cares about your thesis? Who cares about your thesis? Who are you? Who are you? Who cares about your thesis?
Guess what? Not all the money in there are smart people. There are people being...
Right. I'm starting to think that Gasparino here, he's lost some money. I think he's lost a lot of money. That's the only reason. Money's the only thing that he clearly cares about. He probably eats it for breakfast. He probably bathes in it. He probably has a pillow made of it and a blanket made of it. He probably has underwear made of it. He probably has a toilet roll made of $100 bills. And then GameStop come along and the Redditors who organised all this came along. And that vet I mentioned earlier who was willing to lose money just to stick it to the Gasparinos so that the Gasparinos of the world will have to go back to using regular blankets and bathing in water instead of bathing in $50 bills. But my own thesis, as he likes to put it, everyone should listen to his thesis because he's better than us. He's better than us working class people. He's better than middle class people. His thesis should come first. Let's everyone listen to his thesis. My thesis is you've lost money and you are so angry at that the bottle in your rear end is contracting.
Led astray. It happens every few years, and it's
Guess what?
Now.
People were led astray when they bought General Electric at 54.
Charles, but a lot of small investors believe Pets.com was going to be the next Amazon.com.
Yeah,
Who? Show me them. Show me people who thought Pets.com was going to be the next Amazon. Right? Show me these people. This guy, he clearly believes all of the human beings are stupid except him. He's the man. He knows what's going to happen. He's got his thesis. He carries his thesis around in his back pocket. He's got it gold plated. He's got a copy of it hanging up on the wall. His thesis should be listened to by all and sundry. And to hell with anyone else who invested in Pets.com.
Guess what?
But
And guess what? Remember,
there were a lot of people who were shorting Tesla, right?
Hold on one
and
second.
they looked wise. That the crowd that shorted Tesla looked very, very wise, right? In retrospect, maybe not so much, right?
Listen, we saw this with Tesla, Netflix, Amazon for years was a stock that the experts said don't buy because there was no E in the PE. Here's the thing. I bought BlackBerry almost a year ago on my own account because of the 5G technology. I just happened to see the short squeeze and take it. My broker sent me an email saying, yo, you remember this? I said, oh, golly. So there was a thesis for me to own it. Excuse me,
Charles.
I told you a year ago. What does a year ago mean to you? I said I bought it a year ago.
This stuff. And there are people that are buying.
Listen, Neil, I didn't want to do this with anybody else that would not let me speak. Okay?
All right. Well, guys, one at a time. So, Charles, you're saying, you have confidence in that people are grown-ups. They can invest in something, and it does.
So, as you can see, Charles Payne is starting to get a bit irritated with Gasparino. My opinion's grown stronger by the moment. I think Gasparino lost a lot of money. He thinks that we're getting beyond our station when we bought the stocks. He doesn't like that. He and his wanted GameStop to go down the Blockbuster route. They wanted to short it into oblivion, and it was going to go down the Blockbuster route, and it still could do. It's probably inevitable. The way the game market's going, it's moving from having physical copies. The days of the 1990s where you could buy collector editions, and instead of downloaded content, DLCs, you got expansion packs. Those days are over. You're going to own nothing. The future, the globalist future they want for us all, is a future where you own nothing. You don't own anything. You own nothing. Everything's digital. Everything's held in either servers or large centers, but you don't own any possessions. And the next victim of this globalist mindset is unfortunately GameStop, because games are all going to be digital. You're not going to have a physical copy of a game, so you're not even going to be able to have a collection of games anymore. It's all going.
Doesn't work out, but they're certainly as qualified as the hedge funds who have second-guessed.
I'm not saying anybody I'm not judging qualifications. I'm judging opportunity. I'm saying, who the hell is anybody out there to say, oh, you should stop being able to own GameStop at a certain level?
Saying that.
I would love to be able to speak more than three seconds.
That, Charles.
All right. Well, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Everyone has theses, right?
Raising the issue.
All right, here's the thing. You're calling people stupid.
Charles.
He's not letting him talk. Gasparino's not letting Payne talk.
Is that
you're calling people stupid?
The volume from a settlement standpoint, and Rush Limbaugh and all these lunatics are running around saying it's a class warfare thing. It's absurd.
Well, why are they saying, and I'm not saying it's class warfare, I don't think it's that deep. I do think there are class elements to it, though. I do. And I'll give you my reasons for that. Primarily, your own mouth, Gasparino, and your thesis that everyone in the world needs to listen to, right? You're talking about people who in your own... And Charles Payne is right, you did say they were stupid. You didn't say it in those words. You said it, you used this typical mealy-mouthed type wording. You said they're not smart enough to understand this, that, and the other. That's what you said. You said they're not smart enough, which is a indirect, mealy-mouthed way of saying they're stupid. Look, trust me when I say this. In the modern age, with internet brokers and the likes of people like Robinhood, the brokerage app Robinhood, that people thought they could trust. With a name like Robinhood, the little men like me and you watching, we thought we could trust them. Obviously we couldn't. But you don't need a thesis, a gold-plated thesis, to invest in stocks anymore. And you know what? That's really rattled your cage. It's rattled your cage that people who never went to university, that people who work as bricklayers or carpenters or warehouse workers can own stocks, and not only own stocks, but beat you at your own game. And it leaves you and your precious thesis sitting in the dirt.
I tend to agree with Rush on this because you know what? Robinhood could have raised. Excuse me. I would like to talk. I would like to talk for more than 1 second, my man. Please give me a chance. I'm asking you to let me talk for a minute. Now, Robinhood raised $1 billion this morning. They could have raised that yesterday. They could have raised $10 billion. They want to go public. The insiders don't want to give up any more equity.
Because they don't have enough money for this.
Neil, I'm out. Please cut me off. I don't want to finish this. This guy keeps interrupting. What kind of nonsense is this?
All right. I just want to.
And that's it. I mean, it still goes on. We'll watch it. It goes on for another 50 seconds. We'll watch it, but that's it. He's cut out. He's done. Gasparino's not letting him talk. Gasparino doesn't want a conversation. Gasparino wants to push his thesis down your throat. He is angry that he's lost money. He's angry that plebeian people like myself and a lot of people out there won and beat them at their own game. And as for Robinhood, I want to say this before I forget, because I did say I'm trying not to talk as much, but when I do talk, it's because I have something to say and I might forget. I want to say about Robinhood, this is peak postmodern society, right? What I mean by that is, with a name like Robinhood, you'd think that they would take from the rich and give to the poor. Well, their response to the GameStop situation, the GameStop stocks and shares, has been essentially to first freeze the poor from getting the wealth, and then after they froze it, they gave the wealth that the poor got back to the rich. The exact and literal opposite of the philosophy behind Robin Hood. The exact and literal opposite.
Understand, guys, are you, real quickly, guys, are you for the government looking into this?
No.
Charlie Gasparino, yes or no?
No.
All right, Charlie, you're not.
Look into it.
So
I'm not for more regulation.
You agree?
I want them to make sure, though, that you can never stop. You can never short 140% of a company. I want to make sure that hedge funds can never keep shorting unlimited amounts of stock, because every short is a deliberate sell, a deliberate attempt to knock the stock down, and that is not a free market.
I want to make
All right,
sure
that
people
was the
stop
case with
touting
GameStop.
stocks.
It did have 140% short position. All right.
Right. I really wish they didn't talk over him then. This guy here made a very revealing. I think he proved my point. We'll go back and listen again, and I might increase the volume in editing, right? Now, he said something blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah, so that people couldn't lose all their life savings. Now, this is what I mean. Look at his eyes. And look at his eyes, right? He's happy, he's smiling, he's made money. This guy is a beaten guy. He's lost money. This is why he's so angry. The plebeians, the working class people out there, beat him at his own game. He wanted GameStop to go down the blockbuster route. It didn't. He's lost a fortune. It's written all over his eyes, and he made a very revealing comment. Now let's go back. Try and listen again. I think I'll enhance the audio. Whilst these two are talking, whilst Payne and the host are talking, Gasparino says something blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah, lost all their life savings.
Every short is a deliberate sell, a deliberate attempt to knock the stock down, and that is not a free market.
I want to make
All right,
sure
and that
people
was the
stop
case with
touting
GameStop.
stocks.
It did have 140% short position. All right.
Yeah, he just said it there. Something along the lines of, I want to make sure people can't stop. People can't. Something along the lines. Let's just listen again.
It's not a free market.
I want to make
All right,
sure
and that
people
was the
stop
case with
touting
GameStop.
stocks.
It did have 140% short position. All right. Okay.
Yeah, something about losing the life savings, which I've got a funny feeling. I don't think he's lost all his life savings, but I think that man has lost a lot of money, and he is really irked about it. You see, these people, what's bad enough for them is losing a lot of money, but it's even worse when they lose it to a bricklayer. When they lose money, a lot of money on the stock market, which is their own game, essentially. When they lose it to a barista, or they lose it to a dog group, I can't even use the word. When they lose it to a warehouse operative, that's worse for them. When they lose it to these people, when they lose it to someone like me, that's unforgivable to them. So when people talk of so-called class warfare, this is where it comes from. This is where the idea comes from, because they see it. People see it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think of this spat on TV on Fox News. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video around. I know I got a lot of unique views yesterday, and I thank you for that. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.